Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of First Look, Final Word, podcast where we take you along to see a movie. My name's Pete.
I'm Trevor. How's it going, you demented freaks?
Oh, wow.
This week we're gonna see Joker Folie à Deux, and you don't even know what kind of ride you're in for, what kind of stuff this guy gets up to.
So every week I think I'd say wilder when you say so. It's like not expecting just full on just call everyone freaks. Why not?
All right, to give the synopsis before we start driving to the theater. The world is a stage. While struggling with his dual identity, Arthur Fleck not only stumbles upon true love, but also finds the music that's always been inside him.
I read that same synopsis earlier, and I just think it's hilarious.
Well, it's interesting because we were talking earlier about how it really seems like they're trying to hide the fact that it's a musical a little bit, but then sometimes you see a commercial or read the synopsis and it's right there.
Yeah, like
that's musical.
I know. Like I think we talked about it last week. But like Todd Phillips, literally said, it's not a musical. It's just a movie that uses music to portray some of the dialogue. It's like, okay, well, I think that's a musical, isn't it?
Yeah, someone forgot to tell him what a musical is.
Yeah.
Well, are you excited for this one, Pete?
I'm trepidatious, I think, is a word that I'm going to use. I'm not sure. I can't, honestly, I can't imagine a scenario where this is going to be good. But at the same time, I'm open to be proved wrong, if that makes sense. Like I have, my secret hope is that, they do something really interesting and amazing and justify the existence of this movie, but my head says that I don't think it can do that really. But like I say, open to being blown away by the movie.
Yeah, I my expectations have kind of gone up and down for this movie. When I first heard that they were going to make a sequel to Joker, I thought well, obviously that movie made $1 billion.
I mean, it's fair enough, I suppose.
They're gonna make another one. I have no idea why they would want to do that, why Phoenix would want to do that.
Yeah, well, that's it. Right?
But then I heard Lady Gaga signed on and it's a musical, and then I thought, well, that's a very interesting direction to take that in. The last thing I would possibly expect that story to go, and then I heard it's not original songs; it's a karaoke musical. And that kind of bummed me out a little bit.
I hadn't heard that, so yeah, that doesn't sound good.
Yeah, in the one trailer, she's just singing "Get Happy."
Oh yeah,
it's okay. So I guess you can pay Lady Gaga $12 million to be in your movie, but that's just going to get her to act. She's not going to write her own stuff for that.
She's not going to do an original soundtrack, I guess. Although that seems like a missed opportunity, to be honest.
But yeah, I don't know why they wouldn't want to do it. So how did you like the first Joker?
Yeah, it's interesting actually because I remember quite liking it when I saw it originally when it came out, whenever that was. But then I never went back to it, and it kind of got a bit of a backlash. I felt from people. I think some people say you always get the people who jump on and misinterpret the point of the movie and whatnot. And I also remember feeling a bit like the Bruce Wayne stuff and the Batman stuff I didn't really like. It kind of was yeah, we don't really need to see baby Bruce Wayne again and to see his parents get killed again. I
see a 50-year-old man stick his fingers inside of a little kid's mouth.
Exactly. So it was a bit of that. I was a bit I don't know if that's necessary. But then I actually went back and rewatched it last night. So I was you know what, I'm going to watch it again to see. Because in my mind, I was I don't understand how a sequel makes sense. I feel like they told the story of him becoming, the Joker. I guess it was the point of the first one. And I was I don't see how you continue that story and keep it being an interesting, character study, because what's he going to do? Just run around being the Joker? Well, we've seen that before. I don't know why we want to see that version. So it's
So how did it play last night?
I thought I really like it. It's a good movie. The things that I didn't like about it the first time, I still don't like. I feel like you could almost just take all the Batman stuff, even the Joker stuff out of it, the DC stuff, and it would just be as good of a movie.
And then you get the King of Comedy.
Well, that's what I mean. And that's what I mean. You can just remake the King of Comedy with Joaquin Phoenix doing an awesome job, and that's going to be a decent movie. That's basically what it was, right? But you didn't need the DC, whenever they like the DC stuff became obvious, I was a bit like, you know what? Because it doesn't seem like a comic book movie because it's not really. It's like, oh, we're in Gotham. It's like, we're not that way. And it's like, oh, and look, here's Thomas Wayne. It's like, it's not necessary for him to be Thomas Wayne. He could just be another billionaire. It doesn't really make any difference.
And then they also have to show the Waynes getting killed.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And by the end, I'm like, I don't need that, and then I don't need it to be linked to this character in any way, even tangentially, like whatever. So that's what I mean. In my brain, I'm like, I don't understand how they can make a sequel to that movie that I feel is like going to be any good. But I'm hopeful that they've, like you said, to get them to come back and to get Lady Gaga on board, like, you would imagine they must have something going on, but then at the same time, I mean, I don't know if they do. Maybe they just had a bunch of ideas and it's not going to stick together. I don't know.
Well, I haven't seen it since it was first in theaters, but when I walked out, I remember being very impressed by the filmmaking. I think that it's probably Phillips' best directed movie, though it's not really anywhere close to my favorite Phillips movie.
Yeah, that's fair.
I was a little bothered by the politics of the movie at the time. Well, and I guess I still have not really quite parsed through what Phillips' perspective is versus what's the perspective of the character. And then regardless of that, it hasn't aged well in the culture, and
True.
wrong people like it for the wrong reasons.
Yep, definitely.
But no, like some of the sequences from that movie, I still remember quite fondly from my head, like, the scene where his ambulance or the police car gets knocked over and he climbs out and the crowd's all around him.
He's dancing on the car and stuff.
Yeah, I thought it's just like very impressive filmmaking. Yeah. But it is sort of like the ultimate incel movie.
Yeah, well, and that was the big criticism leveled against it, right?
But the thing is, like, I think that Phillips knows that Arthur Fleck is a loser.
Yeah, I mean, he really. I think that's the point, right? That's what I mean. Like, I feel like people can make their own assumptions about like how they're supposed to feel about the character, but it's basically about a loser and who has failed by the system, and
who overreacts. Like every one of his actions is disproportionate to the wrongs that were done to him.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like somebody who didn't get the help that he needed, and basically has a psychotic break, and like. And that's the end goal of what happens in that situation, which is pretty telling of what happens a lot in the news. But that's what I mean. Like, it doesn't make him. I mean, he's sympathetic, I guess, but it's not like it's not something that you should aspire to be.
Can I ask a quick Joker question since you just saw it last night? Is he Bruce Wayne's half-brother, or was that debunked by the end of the movie? Was that actually true, or
it's left to be ambiguous? You can read it either way.
Okay.
Which is another thing, because there's a few things that are left left ambiguous by the first movie, where it's because it's one of those like the unreliable narrator, right?
Yeah.
Like there's even the scene where it's like he imagines the whole thing with his relationship with his neighbor.
Yes.
So it's like, okay, well, you've told me that wasn't real and that was in his head because he's an unreliable narrator. So what else in the movie is that? And they don't, and it's not clear if it's anything or if it's everything.
The movie ends with him like having just killed someone in the room and he's running away all gleeful, but like it seems
real?
Kind of impossible.
Yeah, like why would they leave him with this woman that you can just kill?
But that's the perfect homage to Scorsese. Both The King of Comedy and Taxi Driver are both like can be interpreted that way as like unreliable narrator. But then guys may be actually dead or insane.
But then how do you do a sequel to that movie without explaining what happened in the first movie?
You have to take everything literally then, right? Like
I guess unless it's just a continuation of a fantasy.
It loses a bit of the magic.
Yeah, because I read on.
It really doesn't seem like this is a continuation of the fantasy though, because it looks like
it can't be, right? It's got to be.
The preview looks like he's in a mental asylum,
mm-hmm.
And he's going to go on trial for all of his crimes, right?
Exactly,
like that looks like that's what the plot of the movie is.
Yeah, and I feel like it might be a bit of the same, where it's like a lot of stuff happens in this movie. It's like, oh, is that just like a shared fantasy that these people have in this hospital, or is this actually happening?
Well, that leans into our discussion for this week, as the title of this movie is Joker Folie Deux,
right?
Which means
I always forget how to say it.
I think I nailed it. I think I absolutely nailed it.
Yeah, your French is on point.
Yeah. Thanks. Can you tell my grade 10 French teacher that?
Yeah, because
he did not agree.
Well, better than me.
Yeah, and that translates into madness of two, or like a shared delusion.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so I'm not breaking any ground with figuring that one out, because it's right there in the title.
And I do like whatever's going to come out of this movie. I do think that is an awesome title.
I mean, it's interesting. I mean, this is what we're going to get into, but I think I agree. It's an awesome title, but I also think it's probably not helping them.
It's not a commercial title, but that's why I respect it.
But why make this movie if you're not trying to make more money? Like, just don't bother then.
I don't know. Like, I have a secret suspicion that this whole project is just like Todd Phillips being irritated at his own success in his own audience.
Maybe.
Because like he made a series of comedies right before he did Joker that did not really perform to the same level that he was experiencing with The Hangover. And then he made Joker, because I think he thought like, well, the only way to make a movie now is if I just attach something
to a superhero movie.
To a superhero bullshit. And then it makes $1 billion. And then he's like, all right, you people are idiots. You will watch anything I do. I'm going to do something that you hate because I hate you. You know, that is honestly what I'm expecting going into this.
Wow, okay, that's a bold strategy. I mean, I guess I'm assuming they just said do whatever you want. We're assuming it's going to make money because the first one made so much. But I mean, I don't know, because from what I've seen from when we were buying tickets for this tonight, it's not selling well.
No, like we've been to, I think, 4 superhero movies now for this podcast.
That's a fair point, actually.
The Marvels, Aquaman 2, Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yes.
And now this one. Every single time we've gone on a Thursday, and every single time we're fighting for tickets.
Yeah, true.
And this one, like, you could just walk there right at showtime and stroll in and get a ticket. So does not bode well for this movie.
Which is crazy, because the first movie made more than any of those movies. Probably might have made more money than all those movies combined.
Oh, no, Deadpool and Wolverine.
Well, but you take that one away. I mean, the first ones.
Two,
I meant the first ones.
Yeah.
Like, if you take Deadpool 2 and I guess there was no previous Marvels movie, but like, I don't know what Aquaman made, but like they didn't make a lot of money.
They lost money on that one, yeah.
But their sequels seem to be more popular than this one, which is interesting.
Yeah, so it's gonna be something. Like, that's kind of what we like on this show.
Yeah,
like,
we don't necessarily different, right?
We don't need to see a good movie. We just want it to be an interesting movie.
Yeah, I mean, listen to our episode last week to get some more info on that. Like, take a big swing and do something crazy, and it makes for good content.
Yeah, you know, I think Megalopolis is probably our best episode. Well, aside from this one, we're nailing this one also.
Every episode is the best episode.
So go check that one out. But did we want to get to the question of the week?
Sure.
Or did you have something else?
No, I think we covered off everything. I was just going to say a bit more about actually how a lot of it's ambiguous in the first movie, because I don't know if you remember, but when I watched the movie, I had assumed that he killed his neighbor.
Yeah, I did. I'm trying to remember.
And the daughter, because he goes into the apartment and he's just sat on their couch, and she's like, "Why are you in my house?" And that's when it's revealed that it was all in his head. And then he turns around real creepy and does that like finger guns to the head, like she did in the elevator. And he's like, and she's like freaked out, obviously, because he's like lost it by this point.
Right.
And then it does a really abrupt, hard cut to him leaving that apartment quickly, like running basically back to his apartment.
Okay. Yeah, I guess you could take that either way.
And then they never show her again.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, that's weird. Like, why cut it that way? But
I guess the fact that it's a hard cut.
Yeah, to him leaving quickly. It's like, well, did you just get up and leave? That seems odd.
Yeah.
But then I looked into it, and like Todd Phillips was like, no, like he didn't kill them. Like, there was actually a scene later on where they're watching him on the TV show, and he was supposed to just like tell them to watch the show and then leave. And I was like, but like, they just cut it for time or whatever. And he's like, I didn't even think that people would interpret that he would kill them. And I was like, well, that's weird because I definitely interpreted. I even watched it last night, and I was like, yeah, it seems like he would have killed them, right? Like he's crazy at this point.
I don't think I thought that, but I could definitely see someone drawing that conclusion.
Well, and then I saw another theory that like the bit where you remember the bit where he climbs into his refrigerator, like when just after he kills his mom.
Oh yeah.
Spoilers, by the way, for the first Joker's movie. If you've got this far, sorry.
People are
about
just
that.
irate. Like Joker fans who've never seen Joker are just losing their minds right now.
Right?
They're so angry.
Yeah, but some people have said that like he climbs into the refrigerator and dies, and like basically dies, and the rest of the movie was his death dream. Because like, and it actually does track, because I heard that theory and I was watching last night, and then it does another abrupt cut from him being in the refrigerator, like basically having a psychotic break, and it smashed, and then it like there's a hard cut to him just chilling, laying in bed, and he gets the call from the television studio saying like, "Oh, we want you to come in." It's like, that's an odd cut again.
Yeah. Well,
but I think it's just the way it's edited. To be fair,
it's kind of an impossible situation, anyways, that he would get called on to.
Like, why would you have that guy on the show and like just let him just waltz in with a gun? Like, there's lots of things where you can see like this could. Well,
it was the 70s.
I get 80s. I supposed to be.
It was the 80s, okay.
Yeah, but like I get. I mean, I suppose. I mean, you can. But you can definitely interpret it. You can definitely interpret it as like, oh, there's been a shift here, and now it seems like this is a fantasy.
Now, wait, the only argument I have against that is that Indiana Jones also climbed into a refrigerator and he was 100% fine. So that
even survived a nuclear blast, to be fair to.
Exactly.
You can survive a nuclear blast. I'm sure you can survive a psychotic break or two.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, maybe fridge is just a healing place.
I think that was like a legit thing back in the day, is that like refrigerators did not open from the inside at all. So
you could get
kids could go in there and die.
Yeah, because I remember they said like you had to like remove the door when you were scrapping it, right? Because otherwise it was dangerous. I think even to animals and stuff if it's sat in a dump. I think there was isn't that part of the plot of the book It? You ever read?
I was just going to say that. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I stole your thunder there, but one of the ghosts is like a kid that's been trapped in or something. Yeah, I can't remember. I know it was part of it.
I think it like chases the two bullies out of the junkyard or something like that.
Yeah, I remember it was in the book, but not in. I didn't actually see the movie, but it wasn't part of the TV show. That's the one
I want to read that book again. I read that when I was in grade 7, and that was way too young to read that book.
No doubt. That's a big book as well. It's long.
Yeah, it took me a bit.
Yeah. I still haven't seen that movie. I don't know why, because I loved the book and I loved the TV show from back in the day.
Well, the TV, and this is a tangent, but
I think I'm just too scared to watch it.
The TV show really, really wrecked me as a kid.
Yeah, me too.
I saw that way too young.
Oh, same.
And it was so bad like that I refused to take a shower for years because there's the one scene where he gets attacked in the shower, and then I'm like, I cannot have a shower because then Pennywise will sneak up on me. So I just had baths for like 3 years.
Yeah, honestly, I think to be totally transparent, that's why I haven't watched the movie. I'm just too scared. I'm like the TV show messed me up so much.
Tim Curry
don't need to be scared more.
Scary.
Oh man, he's amazing.
The new movie's fine. I don't think it's really scary, but I'm a man in my late 30s now, so maybe I'm just less scared. But
fair enough.
I think they're like the first part is really well done. The second part is still kind of lame, but like it's just such a hard material to adapt and make scary.
Even the book, like at the end of the book, is a bit like gets a bit wacky. There's some stuff in the book that's just crazy.
Yeah, better left unsaid. But that's kind of King's thing, is that
like being able to end a story well.
Great setup, but like he always kind of fumbles it. Except for The Shining, ends really well.
True.
But anyways, back to
what we're talking about.
Back to the topic au jour.
Yes. So what was I don't think we ever really said the question, did we?
The question is the best sequel titles.
Best sequel titles.
Best or favorite, or ones you admire.
Just good ones.
I wrote a lot of joke ones down there too.
Right. There's just some great joke ones, let's be fair.
Yeah. So ones that I want to call out right from the get-go.
Okay.
I think the Mad Max sequel titles are all really great.
That's a good one. I didn't have that one on my list, so that's an interesting one.
And I think for both 2 and 3, they only existed as like those titles in North America.
Right. Yeah.
So I think in Australia they were just called Mad Max 2 and Mad Max 3.
I think you're right about that.
But the Road Warrior and Beyond Thunderdome are just like amazing sequel titles.
Yep.
they don't really tell you much, but they're so evocative.
Right, definitely.
Yeah, so those are kind of
they
the top
kept
of my head.
kept that going with the new ones as well, right? Fury Road.
Well, I guess Fury Road, Furiosa, a Mad Max saga.
Yeah,
I guess less so, but
I don't know about that.
yeah, I would definitely count Fury Road.
Yeah. I don't know why they didn't just call it Mad Max Furiosa at that point. If you're desperate to have Mad Max in the title, but I mean, if he's not in the movie, I guess you can't really do it.
Yeah,
it's like a Fast and Furious story. Hobbs and Shaw. Fast and Furious presents. They should have done Mad Max presents Furiosa.
Mad Max presents. And then I had a few on this list that I think do a great job at just like, telling you what the movie's about, getting butts in seats. And a couple of examples I have here are T2 Judgment Day.
Oh, yes.
They're saying, this is about like Judgment Day. This is when shit goes down.
Remember
You're going to want to be here.
That big thing that happened in the first movie? This is it.
Yeah. I last year I went through all the Friday the 13th movies.
Nice.
And they all have like there's some good.
You did them all? How many is there? Like 10?
There's I think 13 or
nice.
14 or something. I don't think. Yeah.
You can't. Did you watch the remake?
Yeah.
So reimagining, I guess.
I watched them. Yeah. The remake's okay actually.
It was all right.
It's like one of the well done ones of that ilk. But Jason in the original run of the movies like canonically dies
right
in the fourth movie.
Yeah, then
the fifth movie.
There's a lot of like the final movie.
The fifth movie, and I don't want to spoil anything for anybody, but fifth movie it's a different killer.
Oh. Okay.
But the sixth movie is called Jason Lives.
There you go.
Which is just like, all right, we know you did not like the last movie. This movie's about Jason. He's back.
Back to the well we go.
And I just think like that's great calling your shots. That's also kind of by like wide consensus the best Friday the 13th movie. And I would definitely have to agree.
This is not going to be a shock to you or any of our listeners. Is that I'm not a big Friday the 13th guy. I'm not a big horror guy.
Yeah.
Which is funny because like when I was younger, like back in the like 90s, I was like I did watch a lot of that stuff when it was popular, but I think it just scared me, so I never really got into it. Like I was big into watching all the sequels. I've probably seen 3 Friday the 13th movies at this point, but no.
Well, it's not. It's really not the best franchise.
I can't believe you sat and watched them all. There's got to be a lot of schlock in that.
Well, I've been doing that with like one of the major horror franchises a year, kind of going through. Okay. This year, I'm doing Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
All right. How many of those did they do?
Just 9.
Just 9?
Yeah, just 9.
Jeez, I didn't know there was 9.
Well, they've like remade it a couple times too.
Yeah, I figured that, but I didn't know there was. I thought there was maybe 3 or 4 of them, but 9. That's crazy.
And I had seen the original one like multiple times.
Right.
I seen one of them from the 90s with Matthew McConaughey.
Really?
I can't remember what that one is. I haven't made it that far. I'm just about to start the third one. I can even mention that one. Third one is just called Leatherface.
Nice.
Which is, I think there might be a subtitle of that one too, but that's also just like telling people, like your favorite star of this franchise is coming back.
Right.
And then one more on this horror train, the final, what was supposed to be the final Nightmare on Elm Street movie.
Oh, right.
Is called Freddy's Dead.
Yes, he's dying in this one.
Yeah.
Then they could do Freddy's back.
Well,
they did that a lot with those series. It's like the final nightmare. The next nightmare, a new chapter.
They're honestly like that's all over the horror genre.
Yeah, they like doing that for sure. All right, what else have we got for good sequel names?
Did you have any on your list?
Yeah, let me pull my list out here. So, I'll go on one of mine.
While you're pulling out your list, at the top of my list was The Empire Strikes Back, which I think is just such an amazing title.
Yeah. Because the first movie was just Star Wars, right?
It was just Star Wars, and then
they retconned it to be A New Hope.
And then I believe The Empire Strikes Back still went theatrically as Empire Strikes Back first before they
did it go as
added a number
episode 5?
No, I think that was after.
Yeah, I think when they retconned it to be a new code,
But
that's
I
when
think-
they added the episode numbers in.
Yeah, and I think that happened after Empire Strikes Back, but before Return of the Jedi came out.
Oh, there's still a bunch of Star Wars nerds sort of screaming at us now, probably. We tried.
But I think that's basically the only like great Star Wars movie title.
Yeah. Okay, I've got one. I'll do the one that's top of my list that I think is. They're both like nothing crazy, but they're just like perfect. Aliens.
Yeah,
It's like there's more of them.
it's so
It's
simple.
just perfect. It's just so
beautiful.
simple and perfect. It's like, and yeah, there's more than one of them. There's gonna be a whole bunch. And like, I just love that story of how when he pitched it, when he just wrote alien,
Yeah.
and then put the S, and then made it into a dollar sign. I was like,
It's a great pitch.
that's all you need. There's more aliens. It's everyone likes the aliens. So,
But like, yeah, Alien 2 just doesn't even sound
right.
right.
It's just lame.
But then they call it Alien 3. It's so dumb. But like Alien Romulus is a great sequel title.
True. There's a few good names on that Alien series.
You like Resurrection?
It's fine. I mean, it's not good. But
Well, she was resurrected.
exactly.
Do you like Alien 3?
No. That's a good point. Like, what do you prefer? Are you a fan of like just give it the next number? Because like I feel like nobody does that anymore. Now it's all like colon this and
Yeah.
and
Well-
frickin' parentheses this and
What I love about the
It's-
John Wick franchise is it goes John Wick 2, John Wick 3, Parabellum, then John Wick 4. They just like drop the
it's
subtitle
like, you know what?
thing.
Screw it. We don't need a colon. just leave it. Yeah, John Wick's a good one for doing numbers actually. Well, the one I did want to mention because it's just batshit insane what they did with it was the Fast and the Furious franchise.
Are you going to say Too Fast, Too Furious?
Just all of them, pretty much. Like,
Furious 5?
yeah, like Fast and Furious, but yeah, Too Fast, Too Furious was like it's a good one.
Well, that one you see parodied all the time still.
Yeah, because I feel like that was the cause of the crazy naming scheme that those movies have. Because it's like they had Fast and Furious, and like they thought it'd be funny to do Too Fast, Too Furious because it's two. And but then they're like, okay. I mean, I guess they didn't do anything crazy with Tokyo Drift, but then it's just like Fast 5 and like just random like Fast and Furious. It's like, which one is that? It's just crazy.
Yeah, it gets hard to sort out in your head.
Right?
One I learned about today was Taken 3 is also called Taken, but then instead of the E, it's a 3.
Three, yeah, take 3 in.
Take 3 in.
Take 3 in.
And I feel like that's like a big trend as well, like trying to
Yeah,
work the
putting
number into it.
the name. Yeah, that happens a lot.
30 Rock. You don't watch 30 Rock, right?
No, I tried. I didn't get into it.
They did a joke for like Tracy Jordan or Tracy Morgan. His character starring in this movie is the 5th Snow Dogs movie. And all the S's are 5s. so like he got confused and he's calling it 5 now dog 5.
Oh, that's pretty good. There's been times where it's like weird like that though.
Yeah, no, like that, and that's parodying like a real thing that happens.
Right, exactly. All right, should we just like we're getting closer? Should we just rifle through some of these?
Let's rifle through some.
All right, I got some. Have you got any like what's your comedy ones?
Well, I assume we're both gonna have Breaking 2 Electric Boogaloo.
That's the one I'm looking at right now.
And you know how big of a fan I am of Cube, but
Cube, right?
have you considered Cube 2 Hypercube?
I have not. Hypercube.
Well, it's actually Cube Squared Hypercube.
Right. Cube Squared is actually pretty clever. Cube Cubed.
I think the third one's called Cube Zero. Like freaking stupid.
There you go.
What the hell does that
Doesn't
even
make any
mean?
sense? But whatever.
Because it's a prequel or whatever. But the second one's about like they go into the cube and it's like a time traveling.
Okay. Okay.
So it's like a tesseract thing.
Oh, interesting. No, I haven't seen any of the sequels to that. I can't imagine there is a good. To be fair.
What does she get? Do you just have joke ones now, or
No,
ones
I've got
ones
some
you think
good
are
ones. Hold on, let me find one that's not a joke one. Well, here's a question: what are your thoughts on the Die Hard sequel names?
Wow. I think they're all bad.
Really, I kind of like them.
So Die Hard 2, Die Harder.
Die
right?
harder. You're dying harder. I don't know how you do that, but it's happening.
It is funny. I keep forgetting if that is like the actual title or if that's just a joke people say.
No, I think
it's the actual title.
It definitely
right?
is. Like they went for the 2, but they also put Die Hard are in there.
And Die Hard with a Vengeance, I guess, is okay.
And they dropped the numbers after that point.
And then was it A Good Day to Die Hard?
Yes, which interestingly enough that's not the name outside of North America. Did you know this?
What is it?
It's just Die Hard 4. No, it's 4.0.
4.0, okay, because it's about computers. Okay, got it.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's why.
That's like Live Free and Die Hard is the...
Yeah, oh, no,
last
you know
one?
what? Actually, I think I got those mixed up. Live Free and Die Hard was the fourth one, right?
Yeah.
Yes, I think that's right. A Good Way to Die Hard was still the same. Well, because Live Free and Die that's like isn't that...
That's the New Hampshire license plate.
So
Yeah.
nobody knows what that is outside of North America. Yeah, so that's the one that's Die Hard 4.
Yeah, I think we accidentally said the New Hampshire license plate is Live Free or Die Hard.
That's right. I'm sure they've changed it at this point. Yeah, because they only did 4 of those movies, 5 of those movies, right?
I think so.
A Good Day to Die Hard was the.
I did not
one,
see the last one with his son, and I think they were in Russia.
Yeah,
I just remember from the trailer.
Awful.
What did I have on my list? Oh yeah, so for bad ones, I wanted to call out both Leprechaun in the Hood,
Back to the Hood,
and Leprechaun Back to the Hood.
Like that's crazy that they're actually movie titles.
Yeah,
okay, some good ones. 28 weeks later.
Yeah,
and 28 years later. I guess you could throw into that.
Yeah. Well, it's so interesting, like because you make a silly decision like that on your sequel title, then you're kind of like
locked in.
So you got like
can we do like 28 fortnights later? Yeah.
You got like
how do we squeeze that in?
Ocean's 12, the whole 10 yards. Yeah. Analyze that.
Yeah, I go that. They were on my list as well. I like ones that like do that though, that take the first movie and just like change it slightly to be like the next one.
Yeah. So a really good one that I saw today. I haven't seen this movie. House 2, The Second Story. I thought
that's brilliant.
It's pretty clever.
That's really clever. Stuff like that I love. And I feel like the ones that are the best are the ones that aren't good movies.
Yeah. Well, like the best thing going about it is the title.
Yeah, I like Look Who's Talking To.
Yeah.
Dumb and Dumber 2.
Yeah, with the spell T-O.
T-O, yeah. Stuff like that I love. Then like Finding Dory.
Yeah.
Keep the Finding theme going. City of Men.
From City of God?
Yeah.
I've never seen City of Men.
No, neither have I, but I just like that they're keeping the naming theme going because it could have just been City of God 2.
Yeah. Oh, and so Before Sunset?
Oh, yeah, that's a good one, actually. Yeah.
So keeping with the Before thing and then all kind of, and Before Midnight, I think Before Trilogy is really great for those who haven't seen it.
Yeah, that's a good naming strategy, too. But Meet the Fockers.
What's the third one called?
Did they do a third one?
They did a third one. I haven't seen the third one. It's supposed to be trash.
Yeah, I don't even know what that would be. What was the name?
It's like Meet the Little Focker or something like that.
Really? Oh,
like it's about their kid.
Oh, yeah, actually, we move on from that.
Yeah.
About Honey, I Blew Up the Kid.
Yeah, I had that one too.
That's a great name.
I think I had that under my subcategory of like just getting people butts in seats because that's just amazing. Like, do they blow up a child in this one?
What does that mean? And one of my favorites actually is the Naked Gun sequels.
Oh yeah,
Naked Gun 22 and a half and 33 and a third.
Yeah, The Final Insult and what's the second one called again?
I can't remember now. I just like the play on the numbers. I thought it was so funny. So, and something that we talked about as well in the past is the Planet of the Apes series. They all had kind of interesting names.
I had one of those on my list as well. I had Beneath. I had Beneath on there. Yeah,
that's a good one. But even like the newer ones,
because I thought like
War.
You have a Planet of the Apes, but have you considered if you went beneath the Planet of the Apes? And because they committed to that one, we now have like 11 movies that are of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah,
now.
And that's interesting because that's the only one that's like not of. Like they're all like War 4 or Dawn of.
I guess yeah, because it's beneath the Planet of the Apes.
And that one's an actually like specifically we're talking about a place versus like a concept.
Beneath of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah. All right, what else are we missing here? Oh, what about Alvin and the Chipmunks, the Squeakquel?
Squeakquel, yeah, that's.
Squeakquel.
You know, I have.
That makes me laugh. It makes me laugh.
I have to admit, I have not seen any of those Chipmunks movies.
That one that they throw in all the time is the one with guy from My Name Is Earl. Oh, he's in a
he's Jason Lee, right?
Yeah,
he's
Jason Lee. But it's the one where they go on a cruise. It's brutal.
They go on a cruise. Well, you know, he deserves a vacation.
He does, but it does not go well for him, though.
I'd say leave the Chipmunks at home. That's what I'm gonna say.
Yes,
Wait, can I guess?
Yeah, go for it.
Do they get stranded on a desert island?
Definitely do.
Okay.
Yes. Immediately, in fact.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess the writer's room, people were in there for like 5 minutes.
Yep. And they sing a bunch of songs as well. You might be happy to know.
All right. What else you got? We got 4 minutes left. Let's rattle these off.
Let's see what we missed. Oceans 12 we already mentioned. 22 Jump Street.
Yeah, that's good for them.
What else we got? I've got Day of the Dead in here.
Oh yeah. Or Dawn of the Dead too.
Dawn-
I think is also great.
Night of the Living Dead.
I think Dawn of the Dead is the best title because you go from Night of the Living Dead to Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah.
Very evocative and
Just makes a nice. It rhymes. Yeah. It rhymes. Not gnarly. Okay, what else we got here? Hot Shots Part 2. Yeah, speaking about French sequel titles. Step Up to the Streets. I like that title. I just think it's funny.
Up to the Streets. I heard
it's Step Up to like a sequel to Step Up, like colon the streets.
The streets.
So it sounds like you're saying Step Up to the Streets.
Yeah,
which I just like wordplay.
Now it's on.
Charlie's Angels Full Throttle.
Okay.
Oh, here's one actually that I think is pretty clever. Do you ever watch the Friday movies? Like the Ice Cube.
I've seen the first one. Is it like Another Friday or something?
Yeah, there's Next Friday and then Friday after next.
Okay. That's good.
It's pretty clever, right? I like that one. Yeah, that's pretty much what I had on my list. So.
All right, let's speed run through mine then.
Okay, so you got Mad Max Nightmare Dream Warriors.
Oh yeah. So that's even like a different Nightmare on Elm Street sequel title. Dream Warriors.
Dream Warriors is a good one. Hellraiser 3, Hell on Earth.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the one I had on my list. But I forgot to say, Secret of the Ooze, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
That's so great.
We have to ring the bell on mentioning Mutant Mayhem as well. Whenever we do a podcast.
Ding 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 ding.
Watch that again. Watch that again this week.
It's not technically a sequel, so we can't.
No, true.
But also on Hellraiser, I just remembered there's like the 8th movie in the Hellraiser franchise is called Hellraiser Deader.
Deader.
Yeah.
Nicely. Babe Pig in the City. Great one.
And it delivers. He goes to that city.
He does. He's in a city. Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Yeah, that's a great. I think it's just a great title.
It's perfect. It's so pulpy. It's just amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
What do we got? Wrath of Khan. That's a good shout.
Yes.
And then the Audio Undiscovered Country. Yeah, got some good Star Trek names.
Yeah, I think those are the best. Wrath of Khan, not necessarily the best movies, so they're both like top 5. Wrath of Khan and Undiscovered Country.
Here you go. You got it written down here. Naked Gun 2 1/2. The Smell of Fear.
The Smell of Fear. Yeah, there we go.
What else we got? Super Cop.
Yeah. So that's Police Story 3.
Yeah.
Super Cop.
Yeah. Okay. Mission Impossible. Ghost Protocol.
Yeah. So that's when they drop the numbering and start getting really silly with these names. I think Ghost Protocol still is the best name. Best and kind of the worst because like what the fuck is a Ghost Protocol?
Right. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Right, and then I still know what you did last summer. I was on my list too. Actually, I like that one.
Yeah, it's
so horrible, but it's hilarious. Sister Act 2, Back in the Habit.
Yeah,
that's a great.
That one you just gotta like applaud. Like whoever thought that should have been given $1 million on the spot.
That's when they were like, we're done for the day, guys. Let's go to the pub. Okay, Toxic Avenger Part 3, The Last Temptation of Toxic. I've never heard of that movie. That's an amazing name.
I haven't seen any of the Toxic Avenger sequels.
Critters 2, The Main Course.
Yeah.
Grumpier Old Men, that's a good one.
And I've seen both of those movies.
Really?
Yeah.
I think I saw the first one. Beethoven 2nd.
Yeah, that it's just good. Like
it's clever, right? It's clever.
Like there used to be like actual writers who worked.
Like thought about this stuff, not just like we need a colon and that we can put something after the colon so people can read it and it sounds impressive. Yeah, it's probably good. I think we've hit most of the stuff on here. We need to get going before we miss all the cool trailers. Okay, so if you are new to the podcast, Pete and I are going to go inside the theater, watch Joker Folie, Deux, come back here and give you our immediate spoiler-free reactions, then give you lots of warning before we head into spoiler talk. Also tell you the best time to go to the bathroom. Yeah, that pee report. Yeah, so don't go anywhere, guys. You don't have to worry about being spoiled. Like Trevor said, we'll give you our impressions without spoiling anything for a good few minutes, 5-10 minutes when we get back. Almost missed it. Rambo First Blood Part 2. Oh, yes. The stupidest title ever. Part 2. Rambo First Blood Part, because the first movie is called First Blood. They call it Rambo First Blood Part 2. Well, that was a decision that was
obviously pitched like that.
Yeah,
Like someone
Second
said,
Blood.
let's call it Second Blood.
Doesn't make a lot of sense, really, though.
And they're like, well, let's just call it First Blood Part 2. And like, we need to put Rambo front and center in there. Let's put Rambo at the beginning, then First Blood Part 2.
Just Rambo 2 would have been fine.
Yeah.
It's like complicating things.
All right, everybody, here we go. Wish us luck.
Yep. I'll go anyway, guys. Okay, we're back, guys. We're just seeing out to see. What was it? I feel like I just forget the name constantly.
Joker, Folie, Deux.
Folie, Deux. Don't know why I keep getting that, but yeah. So there we go.
All right. Well, first off, I wanted to say that the theater was about a quarter full.
Yes,
which is not a good sign.
We didn't. I don't know if we got into that so much on the way here, but talking about how we think this is going to do, because I'm not really sure who they're expecting is coming out for this.
Yeah, like and reports have the budget at about $190 million US.
Yeah.
Well, you were saying like the previous movie raked in $1 billion,
yeah,
right?
Made
so
money, right? So they're just anticipating.
That budget sort of makes sense.
It's going to make like the people will come out to see it. If everyone saw the first one, they'll want more of it, right?
Yeah,
but I don't know. Based off of how full our theater was,
I think they might break even, but that's
yeah
pretty much it. Like they might get to 400 million, but it might be tough, right? Because
I mean, I don't know. I feel like. I mean, we can get into it, but I don't know if the word of mouth on this one is going to carry it along.
Well, how did you like the movie?
I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel.
Like, certain, I think, and I don't want to get too much into spoilers. I think what you said on the way here about why he might have made the movie, I think you kind of nailed it on the head.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You totally nailed it on the head. Like he wanted to. It's like he wanted to set the record straight with how people perceived the last movie.
Yeah,
it's like you guys didn't understand, so I'm going to really drive it home what I was trying to say in this movie.
Yeah,
which I think is going to potentially piss some people off.
And we passed some
like
angry people.
Like the guy that was sat in front of us, who was on his phone for half the movie, which was starting to really annoy me.
Oh, I didn't realize he was on that much. I think he might have had a better angle at it.
Yeah, I had the perfect angle, because at first he kept checking his Apple Watch, and then he would hold it up behind his head facing me, like he was taunting me. But at least the Apple...
What the hell was he doing with that for?
I don't know, but I think because he just kept checking the time, and then just like he just had his hands on his head. But I was like, dude. And then he kept checking his phone and messaging and stuff, and that was like pretty like half an hour in, he checked out already. So fair play to him for staying for the end. But yeah, we got a nice snippet from him when we came out where he talked.
Well, that was that same guy. Okay.
Yeah, when he talked to his friend.
He's like, "Yeah, that's the worst movie I've ever seen.
Yeah,
why the hell did they make it a musical?"
Who would ever want to watch that? I think was on those lines. Yes.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'd love to hear your opinion, but the musical stuff in it didn't really work for me.
Wow.
I mean, I appreciated them doing something outside the box, but I just felt like, I don't know, it didn't work completely for me. It got a bit old real quick, and I don't know if that's just because Joaquin Phoenix's voice is very bad, and then like
they're not trying to dress it up.
No, and they don't even try to make it good, and then they have Lady Gaga next to him, like with the pipes. I was a bit just like, I mean, I'm not entirely 100% sure what he was trying to say with that. I think it's something to do with, like, they mentioned it at the start, where it's like we use songs to sort of like center us or whatever. When that doctor was talking about it, but I was a bit like, I didn't need as many maybe of the little asides.
Well, I think that's a different question. But overall, the fact that this movie was a musical was the thing that was really working for me, actually.
Really? You into it?
I was super into it. About like a half hour into the movie, I was thinking like, man, is this like just gonna be a really good movie? Like I was really into like the first little bit. And
I'll agree with that. I was into it as well. I was like, oh, you know what, this is actually pretty good, and I'm enjoying the little asides. But then I think I was just a bit, I got a bit tired, and I think it's just because I wasn't really a big fan of any of the songs they chose. To be fair, I was a bit like, I don't really need to see any more of this singing now.
Yeah, and maybe we should loop back to the comment about Todd Phillips saying that this isn't really a musical, which
Right.
is obvious. I think is him saying that out of fear that this movie's going to bomb. But like, how the fuck is this movie not a musical? Like that's
Well, I think I know what he kind of meant. It's not classically a musical.
there are
right?
like 10 song and dance numbers
Yep,
in this.
there
So
is.
how is that not a musical? Like
Yeah, but I think it's framed as in like that's just his like fantasy world, right?
So,
but it still counts.
but
That's to be fair.
But that's why I think it kind of works, because like classical musicals where people are singing but the songs do not exist diegetically in the movie
Yes.
is like insane. It is,
but that's what musicals are.
Exactly. It's like it's a batshit crazy thing. People are running around dancing and singing, and no one's commenting, "Hey, that's weird that people are running around dancing and singing."
How is this all choreographed so well?
So to me, that like this movie is in conversation with that sort of weird cultural phenomenon that is musicals.
Right.
And I think like him escaping into the alternate reality of musicals is also in conversation with like that same like going into delusions from the first movie.
Yeah.
So I think it works. I think a lot of the stuff with the plot doesn't really work for me.
Yeah. And you know what? The first one was a bit like that, where it's like there was a lot of like contrived things that happen just because of plot and just because they wanted him to be in certain situations. And you're like, that would never happen. And this one was like that, but to the 100th degree. It's like, why would they ever let that go on?
Yeah, no, like the judge was pretty tolerant.
Yeah, the judge is like, no, we're not gonna have this like
turn into a circus.
We don't want to spoil anything, I guess. Like, have we spoiled anything yet? But yeah, it was a bit like, it went a bit far after that.
Yeah, I think the things that bother me about this movie are not going to be the things that bother a lot of Joker fans about this movie.
Right.
I think that I'm not going to question the decision to just have this movie revolve completely around the trial, and then they're just relitigating things that happened in the first movie.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's a choice that Phillips is making. He wants to make a comment on the massive success of the first movie, which I think is fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't create the best narrative drive for your new movie when all you're doing is looking back at the previous movie.
Yeah, and that's kind of the point I was going to make. I think I said over on the way here, I'm struggling to find a reason for this movie to exist. It on its own merits, I guess I should say, and I don't think it did that. I don't think this is a necessary movie.
I completely
in terms of, like you say, a narrative from the second movie. It's more of a like, it's almost like a caveat of the first movie that it's just like, oh, just so you know, this is what I actually meant, and it's like that's not a movie. That's just a caveat to me.
Yeah,
like, and then like that's what I mean. I felt like it was that, and then he kind of like, well, we'll throw in the musical element just to make it a bit more of like, give it some meat of like, hey, look at this, we're doing something wacky and cool. Whereas like, you could have stripped it all out and it would have been the same. It would have been less interesting.
Yeah,
but I mean, it like, I feel like it didn't have much to say, and I don't think the musical elements added anything narratively for it at all.
Well, I was thinking a lot during this movie about The Sopranos or Breaking Bad, and the creator of The Sopranos, I think his name's David Chase. I have to double check that, but he like famously got so annoyed that
people love
that people love Tony Soprano. Not that they love, because you can love a character who's bad, but like they sympathize with him too much, and they're
idolize him.
They're idolizing him, and they're rooting for him to escape. So like he like wrote in plot lines to like make him do terrible things to say to like bring home like, this is not someone that you're supposed to like. And I feel like this movie is just born out of that kind of frustration.
That's exactly what it is, right? It's like really hit you over the head with it.
Yeah.
And another thing that it did that I like, a lot of times they'll make sequels, and I think it's to the detriment of the original movie, And I know that the argument is like the original movie's still there, like it doesn't change it. It's not gonna doesn't make it any worse. It's still the same movie. But I really struggle to like isolate that. And it's like if you make a sequel that directly affects, and this is the argument with the Star Wars prequels and sequels, it's like yes, you
Well,
can
Star
say
Wars is definitely what I was thinking of when you were
yeah,
saying that.
but like with everything, it's like you piss in the pool, and it does affect how you view those movies.
Hmm.
It can't not, and like we said about all the ambiguity of the first movie, this just totally does away with all that,
Yeah.
and it tells you straight away this is what happened in the first movie. In case you thought there was any ambiguity to it, there isn't. This is it.
One, there are multiple characters who spend time saying that, this thing that happened in the first movie was a delusion that did not actually happen.
It's not exactly subtle, is it? In this movie, let's be honest with
Yeah.
what it's saying a lot of times.
Well, but before we go into spoilers, like, what did you think of the filmmaking, which is something we both said we appreciated about the first movie?
I mean, I thought it was well done. I thought I did like the fact that he did switch it up with those musical elements and they were quite original with the different settings and the way that they were structured. So I did appreciate that. I didn't like it as much as the first one. It seemed a bit more like they'd thrown a bit more money at it. They tried to I thought they tried to do a few more like sweeping vista shots and that kind of thing. Where I thought the first one was way more grounded and sort of just like
Hmm.
just made it give it more of that visceral feel. And this one kind of felt a bit more fantastical. I think that, but I still thought he did a good job. I had no qualms with it. What about you?
Yeah, like I still think that Phillips is a very competent
Oh,
craftsman. Like
definitely. Yeah.
the filmmaking in this was quite top notch. Like especially the musical numbers, and
Yeah.
I think how it slips into the musical numbers is quite impressive. Like
Yeah.
um
Some quite inventive transitions, like
yeah, and like the production of some of the musical numbers are really impressive as well. Like you can kind of you start to understand where the $190 million came from.
yeah.
It's like it mostly takes place in this uh I guess, well, Arkham Asylum, right?
Yeah.
And the courtroom, but then they kind of disappear into these studio rooms and stuff,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
during the musical numbers and stuff. Still don't know how they get to 190 million, but
Yeah, I know what you mean. So was the first movie like 50 or something?
probably, yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
I think I read it was the cheapest ever movie to make $1 billion.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, good for Joker.
Joker.
I'm gonna call it right now. This movie's not gonna make $1 billion.
No chance. No chance at all.
But yeah,
And I don't think Todd Phillips it was aiming for that. To be honest with you,
no,
I mean, the studio or Warner Brothers might be upset, but like, yeah,
yeah, and I guess if the first movie is really heavily inspired by Scorsese, I guess
mm.
I didn't really see much of that influence in this movie.
True. That's very true.
It's
Actually,
more like I don't know if I would be thinking of this necessarily, but there was a Bob Fosse poster behind him for the beginning of the movie.
okay.
So I was thinking maybe, well, and I'd say definitely like inspired by um, all that jazz, where the main character is slipping away into these musical fantasies throughout the movie. Also, there's a Charlie Chaplin poster behind him. I didn't really see like the direct influence there, besides like Joker is kind of like the tramp, I guess.
I guess so.
I don't know, but that the only thing that it kind of reminded me of Scorsese was the judge. I thought he looked a bit like Scorsese.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, with the glasses, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, that's true.
And well, I guess we didn't get into this before. What did you think of Phoenix's performance in the first movie?
I loved his performance in the first movie. He like really went for it. I think it was it was crazy what he was doing.
Something hit a honk at this guy
Yeah,
who wasn't
honk, honk,
wasn't turning.
taking his time. Yeah,
Um,
yeah, no, I really did. I really did like his performance in the first one. I thought it was like because that basically was the movie was his performance,
yeah,
and he just did such a great job. I thought the plaudits he got for all that I think were warranted. And in this one, I felt like it was similar, but like toned. I think it was toned down a bit. But like quite different. Like it was obviously the same character, but it seemed to me like it was. I don't know if it was like a progression, but like because I remember I remember thinking, is he going to have like this uncontrollable laugh that he had in the first movie?
They dropped it a little bit.
Yeah, and like it was a good while into the movie before he started that up again, and yeah, I was a bit so at first I was like, oh, is this going to be like a, quite a different character from the first movie? But it ended up not really being that. But no, I thought he did a good job.
Yeah, like I think I said this on our episode on Napoleon that Phoenix is one of my favorite actors.
Yeah, it doesn't do bad performances really,
except in Napoleon, which I didn't like that performance at all.
Yeah. But like he makes choices and he goes for it.
Yeah,
like I agree with you. The choice he made on Napoleon, I didn't quite like, but man, he doesn't do things by halves.
That's absolutely true, and that's probably why he tries to back out at the last minute for a lot of the productions he's in.
Yeah, like he did that recently, didn't he?
Yeah, to the new to the Todd Haynes film that is never going to come out now because
it was like days before it was supposed to start shooting. I think
it might have been like the day before or something like that. Like it's
like that's harsh.
Puts a lot of people out of work and stuff. But
a lot of wasted money.
Apparently, it's something that he tries to do a lot. Like he tried to do it on Napoleon. I think he tried to do it on Joker.
Yeah, he just gets
anxious, I guess.
That's about it, I guess.
But I think I wasn't enjoying the performance as much this time around.
It seemed like it was less of a character piece, I thought, in this one.
And so how I'm processing it now is that I think once he meets the Harley Quinn character, he starts putting on like a bit of a show, a bit of a performance, and he's kind of like playing as the Joker that he thinks he needs to be.
Yeah.
Where I really impressed with the performance was during his like, I'm trying not to give things away, but like his he has like a long monologue towards the end of the movie, and that really kind of brings it home for me. Reminds me of kind of what I liked so much about that performance in that first movie.
Yeah.
And then the musical number that comes after that, I think really made me appreciate his performance. Tough to say more without spoiling.
What about Lady Gaga? How did you find her performance?
I liked it. I think that I have a bit of a problem with how that character was written.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Which we can get that more into spoilers.
I was expecting a lot more from that character, if I'm being honest. And
yes,
to your point, definitely underwritten.
Yeah, but
I was just a bit disappointed in that.
But I think that she makes the most out of that character. I'm quite a big fan of her acting, to be honest.
Yeah, she's actually good.
And she's a pretty good singer.
Like, yeah, you know what? let's like put it right out there right now. Lady Gaga, not a bad singer.
And I kind of like the detail where like she's not that good of a singer when it's clearly like existing in reality, but then when it goes to the fantasy numbers, I was
just gonna say that they did a really good job, and that's why I think it was jarring for me. I kind of I was kind of hoping that they did the same thing with Joaquin, and I don't know if they could have just like.
Well, I just don't think you can make him.
Or just like dub it. Just get someone else to sing it and dub it.
Okay, so
it just took me out of it. I don't know why.
All right, so I have a related question. I have a follow-up question, then a related question. So, okay. Who would you have to dub for Joaquin?
Oh God.
So, like, who would the male equivalent of Lady Gaga be?
I don't know. I have no idea who that is. I don't know popular music, man. Who's a popular singer-songwriter?
I don't know. I think you'd have to go, like, I don't know, maybe go Chris Martin or something like that.
Chris Martin? Oh, God, I wouldn't have picked that.
I don't know. So who'd you pick?
I have no idea. Tom Jones.
Tom Jones. I think Tom Jones is dead, if I'm not mistaken. Is Tom Jones dead?
I don't think so. Is he?
He's got to be 90.
I don't think he's dead. No, all right, now I'm gonna have to look that up. No, I'm not looking it up.
He had big hits in like late 50s.
I mean, like he played Glastonbury like 5 years ago.
How did he do?
I wasn't there. I heard he was good though.
Okay. Well, maybe you fans could let us know, is Tom Jones dead or
There's
not?
no other way for us to find this out.
Yeah. Google it, then write us in. Oh yeah, then my related question is, they keep talking about how there was a made-for-TV movie about the events of the first movie,
Right.
which I thought was a very clever way to kind of comment on, make a meta commentary on the first movie, right?
Yes. Yeah, that was interesting. That was pretty interesting too.
Who do you think in that universe plays Arthur Fleck in that Joker movie?
Oh God. Like we assuming that there's the same actors in that universe and there is in our universe.
Yeah, so I guess like
Who would play?
Yeah, who would play him?
If that was a real thing that happened, who would play that character?
Yeah.
Ooh.
I'm sorry to put you on the spot.
No, I'm going to say Sam Rockwell.
Oh, that's a great answer.
Yeah, he could do it, and he could do it like badly, like a
exactly
like a bad TV movie.
Yeah, no, I think that's a perfect answer. I was thinking more like contemporary to the 1980s, but
that's fair enough. Yeah,
I think Sam Rockwell is perfect. I was gonna say Pesci.
She funny how. No, he's way too intense for that, man.
I think that's how they would play. I think that's how they would play that in the TV movie.
Yeah, that
like they just play him as a psycho,
like Danny DeVito.
Are you saying that from like the Austin Powers thing?
Yeah, that's where my head went.
I'm mini-me. I swear we've talked about that before in the podcast.
Yeah.
When I saw, because I think that's from Goldmember, right?
Yeah.
When I saw that, like, Danny DeVito's mini-me, like, I think that's the hardest I've ever laughed.
Yeah, that was the best thing in that entire movie by a country mile.
No, definitely.
The amount of cameos they got in that was insane. Anyway.
And then Brendan Gleeson, I thought was like...
I didn't know he was in it. I
had no idea.
I don't know why I stayed away, I guess, because I didn't look at any sort of cast list, and like Brendan Gleeson shows up, and I was like, oh, wow. And then Steve Coogan shows up.
Yeah, playing like possibly the worst interviewer of all time.
Right? I mean, I guess stuff went like fast and loose in the 80s, but geez. And then he was only in one scene, and then he was gone.
Yeah, it's kind of like how they got Mark Maron for one scene for the first one.
Right, yeah.
And then I guess we should probably avoid any talk about how this relates to the Batman universe to avoid spoilers.
Yeah, we can get into that after, but because I had some comments about that too.
Anything else you want to talk about before we go into spoilers?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so
I honestly, it was better than I thought it was going to be. To be honest with you, I think it did justify its existence, even though I still think it's unnecessary. And it was good, well done. I don't think I'll ever watch it again.
Well, I think, it definitely has an interesting point of view. You can definitely hear an author's voice speaking to you, which I think makes it worthwhile watching.
It's definitely going to make a lot of people angry.
Todd Phillips has some thoughts about fandom.
Yep.
That I think are worth hearing.
I mean, let's just be honest. It's pretty bold to make a movie, it really win awards, get a ton of people watching it and loving it, and then to turn around and be like, you're all fucking stupid, and make a movie and pointing that out.
do you know what it sort of reminded me of? Like, it's not as audacious, but how the Wachowskis, after the first Matrix, going into Matrix Reloaded, and then what's the third one called?
Revolution? No, I can't remember.
Revolution?
Revelation? Something.
It's how the second and third movie basically says, like, hey, yeah, you know all that like Chosen One stuff that you loved from the first movie? That's fucking bullshit. I can't believe you guys bought into that. That's just another lie that they sold you as a way to control you. Those movies are not like making fun of the fans of the first one to the same extent, but it does it takes what like a big element of what people liked about the first one, and then it's a reaction to that.
That stuff that you really loved. Like, that's not the point of the movie. That's not the point we were making. So now we're going to tell you that, and you're not going to like it as much, maybe.
So I was thinking about that a little bit.
No, that's a really good poll there to compare those. I hadn't thought about
that. But yeah, I'd say overall, a recommend for me.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree. I think it's worth seeing. I think I'm nowhere near as good as the first one for me. The first one I do quite enjoy, not enjoy, but I do really appreciate it, like what he did with that one.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say there's not going to be a Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor noms
I wouldn't
for
imagine
this
so.
one. Okay, so before we drop off into spoilers, I want to give my P report. Clocked it at 1 hour and 25 minutes in. Someone blows smoke into someone else's mouth. You have
Guess who that is? Didn't see Brendan Gleeson do that, to be honest.
You have about 3 minutes where the next scene is just a character riding in a car, listening to the radio, talk about the events of the day before.
Right.
I think it's perfect time to go to the bathroom.
It's a good show, actually. That's perfect timing.
I got a gift.
Yeah, you're really good at this.
I made it through the movie, actually. So
yeah, you did. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, still you clocked it, but he didn't leave his seat.
Yeah,
he was fully engrossed with that.
Okay, so you good to head into spoilers?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, if spoilers bother you guys, think about dropping off. Drop us a line at firstlookfinalwordpod@gmail.com. Let us know what your favorite sequel titles are.
Not secret title.
Not secret titles. Well, you can tell us. We'll keep it a secret.
It could be a secret sequel title.
Oh,
there you go.
I like that.
One that they changed last minute.
Oh yeah, like Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1. Right. That's a secret title now. They've changed that.
Good point.
Okay, so heading into spoilers, 3, 2, 1. Here we go.
Yes, you've been warned. All right, where should we start? But then we're spoilers.
Every time I say we head into spoilers, I think of something I should have said before that. Just wanted to mention that we saw this in IMAX because I like mentioning the format that we see things in.
I do appreciate the IMAX format.
So the Batman universe stuff was kept to pretty minimum.
Yes, they saved it until the end. I thought, in my perspective. I mean, they had Harvey Dent, obviously, which was fine. That might upset some people in terms of the timeline. I think, because I think that might upset people in the first one about, like, well, if Bruce Wayne's so young, why do we already have the Joker? Why do we already have Harvey Dent? Like, people get upset about timeline stuff like that. But I mean, that doesn't bother me at all. And they kind of, Harvey Dent was kind of, you could tell they was skewing young as for a DA. He looked like a baby.
How is he a DA when he's like 19?
Exactly.
And they can't. I don't know who the actor is, but they cast someone who like is just like such a pretty boy.
Yeah.
And then the whole time I'm just thinking like I know that they're gonna fuck up half of this guy's face.
See, I didn't think they'd go there. I was like, oh, this is just young Harvey Dent. They're not gonna have him try and like do that, like, because that should be later on in canon. Like, we want to get like geeky about it.
I was definitely waiting for that.
I didn't think they'd do it, but then as soon as that explosion happened, I was like, well, he's obviously wrecked his face now. Yeah. And they put it front and center there.
Now they did in 1989 Batman. Billy D. Williams played Harvey Dent, and he did not get half his face blown off. So,
well, they promised him he would in the next movie, and then they
fucking dropped him.
They did him dirty.
Yeah, they did him dirty, and he was Lando Calrissian,
right? Like,
show some goddamn respect.
Yeah, he would have been a cool Two-Face, man.
Yeah, he would have been great. He would have been better than Tommy Lee Jones.
Cool side of the face. No, yeah, so sad we never got that.
Yeah, so like the fact that Arkham is is in the film, Harvey Dent, and then I think the end of the movie basically shows us like that other guy was the real Joker that we know and love,
exactly,
right?
Yeah, this other guy becomes the Joker,
which I did not see that coming. So that was very surprising.
And the thing with him cutting his mouth with the knife at the end, they took that from what was supposed to happen in the first movie. I was reading about it last night. So initially in the script, and what was supposed to happen in the first movie is that Joaquin Phoenix Arthur cut his mouth, like when he was a kid, and then at the end, when the big car crash and stuff happens, he's supposed to take some broken glass and recut his wounds to sort of fully become the Joker at the end. But they kind of scrap that, and then he just rubs the blood on the smile instead. So it was something that he wanted to do in the first movie. So I think they just kind of brought that back to sort of, for the real Joker, I guess, at the end there.
I remember when the first movie came out, Todd Phillips said that this isn't necessarily the story of the Joker that we all know from the Batman comics. This could just be the person that inspired the Joker that we know.
Right,
That's why
yeah.
that can explain the discrepancy in the time.
Yeah, and I know they got really sick of answering questions about what's the possibility of it being in the Robert Pattinson the Batman universe and
yeah.
then meeting. So I think it's him being like, no, like
It's not.
if Warner Brothers want to move on with this, that's fine. I'm done. Like this Joker is no more.
Well, and I have to assume that Phoenix only agreed to sign on to this one if they killed him at the end.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually quite surprised that they were able to get him back to do this.
Yeah, I guess like it must have been a positive experience for him.
It didn't sound like it. It sounded like it was brutal for him, like losing all that weight and.
Well, he looks like shit. Like he looks
shit.
terrible.
I think it was like a real drain on him, like
but
physically, emotionally, like to do that role. Like
I don't know.
He's come back. I don't know, man.
He won the Oscar, right?
I mean, but I don't think he's coming back to try and win another one, though. Surely, has anyone ever won the second Oscar for coming back and playing the same character?
Playing the same character? Yeah, I don't think so. It's a good question.
Especially if they already gave it you for the first one.
Yeah, like I don't know. Al Pacino probably deserves to win 2 Oscars for Godfather 1 and 2.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, I don't think anyone's ever won 2 in a row. Good question.
Even if you just like for a sequel, playing the same character for a second time and then winning an Oscar, that would be
like because there's only there's probably like 15 people or whatever who've won multiple Oscars, or maybe more than definitely not for playing the same character.
Even if it was worthy, they wouldn't do that. Yeah. The Academy just wouldn't do that.
Now, like there have been 2 people who've won Oscars for playing Joker, which I think is pretty silly.
That is batshit, really, isn't it? When you think about it.
Yeah, and like I do really like Phoenix's performance in the first one. Yeah. I think that is a bit of a makeup Oscar because he just was so owed for so many great performances over the years.
Yeah, there's a lot of those where it's like, although I mean he was a great. Well, who was up against him that year?
Good question. Let's look it up right now. Like that was 2019.
I think so, right?
Let me think. That was the Parasite year, right?
Was it?
I think so. It's Parasite 1917.
Okay, Vamp Trevor, I'm looking it up.
Vamp. So thing I was going to talk about Lady Gaga's character, Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn.
Harley Quinn.
Harley Quinn.
Harley a lot, right?
Yeah, I think that her character just ended up being a bit too much like, yo, bitches be crazy, man.
You know what? I was quite disappointed. I was really expecting it to be like a proper two-hander.
Yeah, and it wasn't.
And it wasn't. Like, apart from like the musical numbers, which obviously they get Lady Gaga in for the musical numbers, but I thought that outside of that, she was seriously shortchanged and was just there to basically be like you say, like a crazy girlfriend. Which, I mean, I guess is the character, but...
And like this, well, both of these movies are making comments on mental health that I think are just so very icky. I can't quite put my finger on what I don't like about it.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's like, well, I think Batman in general, and like a lot of like comics are like this, where you have villains who are clearly insane. And then Arkham is just like this revolving door of villains going in, like declaring insanity. So you go to Arkham, you spend a while there, then you get out because you use loopholes in the system to say that you're crazy, and then you're not actually culpable for the crimes. And there was a bit of that in this movie where, his lawyer and the psychiatrist that his lawyer hires are kind of doing an argument saying like, he wasn't actually responsible for his acts and stuff like that. And his whole trial is basically dependent on the fact that he has multiple personality disorder, which I was trying to remember back from the first one, like that wasn't the case, right? Like he's just like crazy, right?
Yeah,
and he makes some really bad decisions.
Yeah, I was a bit concerned about that myself because they were really pushing for this split personality thing, and I think what he was trying to say is that like they were trying to push, like you say, his doctor and his lawyer were trying to push that as a reason why he did it, but then in the end he's like, no, I'm just like, it's not a split personality. I was just pretending, but it was me. So it was a bit of an odd choice, I thought, a little bit.
Yeah, and then going back to Lady Gaga's character, who, I guess that she was the crazier one after all.
Right.
Yeah, I guess like it just ends up being a little disappointing. Because I thought that because like the whole movie is Folie, Deux, right? And
Right.
she says that they were like living in a fantasy together, but like they weren't really
No.
together all that often.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess
She
like,
has more screen time as a fantasy in his head than she does as an actual character.
yes, exactly. Yeah, we didn't really get to learn really much about her at all. I mean, there's things that you can,
Besides the fact that she's a bit of a phony.
yeah, there's things you can infer from what's revealed, but you don't really get to really live with that character. Okay, I got the best actor nominations from 2020.
Okay.
So it was up against Jonathan Pryce for The Two Popes,
Oh yeah.
Adam Driver in Marriage Story, Leo in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
The Adam Driver performance is really great.
Yeah, and Antonio Banderas, Pain and Glory.
That's a great one too.
Yeah, so pretty strong.
Yeah, pretty good. I'd say probably Jonathan Pryce. I love Jonathan Pryce. Might be the weak point there.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, I mean, pretty good slate.
Yeah, he did well to win that, really. But like I say, I really do like that performance, and they love it when people lose weight and play the Joker.
Yeah. And play the Joker, I guess, because he's so friggin' demented.
Yeah, it's a good way. It's a good character for actors to play and just let loose and do shit.
So and the movie really did end up being a big commentary on, guess like those incel type guys or whatever, right? Who, and you see this in the prison scenes too, right? People are like getting inspired by his actions in the courtroom, and
I thought it was well. It didn't do it overtly, but I thought it was going to get into the whole politics of it, of like following false idols and like treating people like as a messianic figure when really they're just fucking idiots.
Yeah,
which I
guess that
there's some parallels there.
There's definitely some subtext there.
Yeah.
I thought there was a bit of like a One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest reference when the guy who was like a hanger on to him at the prison ends up getting like just taken away and killed.
Yeah.
I guess in Cuckoo's Nest it's more like he commits suicide or whatever, but it had the same sort of feel to it.
Yeah, I didn't love that part towards the end where obviously I guess they wanted to show that like he gets broken at the end, right? And just is like, I can't do this anymore. I can't pretend to be Joker with that guy getting killed, and them taking him to the bathroom and doing I don't know what to him.
I was gonna ask, like, are we supposed to think that he got raped there?
I think that's implied, right?
I think that was implied.
But to me, I was a bit like, that seems a bit like, really? That's where you're going? Like,
well, and that like
it just seemed like going too easy to the well of like, well, he's in prison, he's gonna get ass raped, that's what's gonna break him. It's like, seriously, like that's where we're going with this.
And it's a similar problem to the first one in that I don't really know what the movie ultimately wants us to think about Arthur Fleck. Like, are we supposed to feel sorry for him?
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't know.
I think that's the intention, right? I think you're supposed to feel sorry for him because society failed him, and that's why he became this thing.
I guess in this one, like, he doesn't really do anything that's egregious, right?
No, not really, not at all. I mean, he imagines it.
Yeah.
But no, it doesn't.
Oh yeah, that's that. Like, yeah, he has some fantasies there, but yeah, it's like he doesn't like a bomb is set off that kills a bunch of people because people are inspired by his previous actions.
Yeah, and apparently, if you are the closest to the bomb, you are the less affected by it. He was like right behind it. I guess he got blown right into the soft chairs. Because everyone else was like dead, it looked like, or lost half their face.
I feel like if I was on that jury, I think like even even though that trial was a bit of a disaster,
The whole
like
trial was just an absolute nightmare.
I probably would say like this guy clearly just needs to be in the hospital. Like,
Yeah.
like even
Why-
if he doesn't
why-
have split personality disorder, I think like he's clearly like mentally ill.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess in the 80s they were a bit more
Like,
loosey-goosey in Gotham.
Case in point, he is dressed like a clown.
Yeah, that was a bit like when it got to him being a clown and then doing his like Southern gentleman like knives out accent. I was a bit like, why are they letting this go on? This is ridiculous.
I was going to ask you, do you think that is a little inspired by? I wasn't thinking of Daniel Craig. That's a good call, but Charlie Day from when he does his lawyer stuff in Always Sunny.
Yeah, well, I think this isn't it. Doesn't it all come down to like Foghorn Leghorn?
Yeah, it's all Foghorn Leghorn.
It's like I'm pretty sure there was like he was a lawyer at some point in the cartoon.
I'm no fancy big city lawyer.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a good shout though, Charlie Day. No, but I wasn't expecting Zazie Beetz to show up again. Actually,
yeah, I think that worked
to
really
fully
well, actually.
to fully explain that she didn't die.
I didn't die, neither did my child.
Oh, yes. And I'm going to explain to you the scene that was cut out of the last movie, so you're all aware that that was what happened. Like literally, she explained the scene we talked about.
And that seems like it's a response to what you were saying that Phillips was saying, right? Is that like I never imagined people
wasn't supposed to get ambiguous. I'm going to have her explain exactly what happened and what you didn't see.
Yeah.
And also, they pretty quickly explained that he didn't kill the psychiatrist at the end of the first movie, and that was all in his head.
Yeah.
Like right away.
Always fun.
It's funny because well, at the start they're like, oh, he killed 5 people, and in my head I was like, okay, who's the 5 people? You got 3 at the train station, then you got Murray, he killed on TV, and I was like, who's the other one? I was like, oh yeah, that was the other guy.
The guy from the club that he killed.
Yeah, he killed in his apartment right in front of the other guy.
Which I think is the cruelest part of the first movie is that laughing at that little person tried to open the door to escape.
Yeah, I
feel like this movie's still having a bit of a laugh at.
Yeah, but I did quite like that they gave him the forum to sort of be like, that was what you did to me is horrible. Like
that's true. Yeah,
and they let him say it, even though to your point they do. It is a little bit.
The fact that they showed like he's sitting on yellow pages, I think that's just like
that was so unnecessary. It was just like, okay, we get it. He's small. Like you don't have to do that.
Yeah, that really sucks.
Yeah, that was a bit too much for me. I thought like.
But no, you're right. Like seeing that he has like emotional distress, I think was one of the better parts of the movie, and Arthur's clearly bothered by it.
Right. Yeah. Because it's one of those things that's like in the first movie, it is kind of just like, oh, it's pretty funny. He can't reach the deadbolt and he's freaking himself there. But like, no, actually think about that. You ruined this guy's entire life now. He's traumatized forever. And he was your friend. So thanks.
Thanks, Joker. You're a jerk.
Yeah, that's the main crux of the movie. Don't be a jerk and kill people. It's not cool.
Yeah, so I think, to maybe start wrapping this up, I think the movie is ultimately like, fine. It's like it's pretty good. Like I think a lot of people out there are going to say it's a disaster, and I don't agree with that.
I think it's going to be very, very divisive. Like I had a quick peek at like early reviews coming in through like Rotten Tomatoes, and it was very much like the worst film ever made, or like there was no one saying it was amazing, but it was like worst film ever made, or like you say, no, it's fine, it's a fine movie. It's like a 7 out of 10 or a 1 out of 10.
Well, pretty much, and I can almost understand the 1 out of 10 person who's just like,
but this is not what I signed up for.
Why did you do this?
Yeah. Like, what, there's nothing new happens, and you just basically undoing everything from the first movie.
Yeah, but superhero musical.
That's a good point. Is it the first? It's gotta be right.
It did superhero musical numbers better than the Marvels, which I think was
good shout. Yes,
I think how they did the musical thing was so cowardly. Like it was lame. It really irks me why they even did that if they weren't going to commit to it.
Yeah. That's the thing.
They were embarrassed by it the whole time.
You got to give Todd Phillips his due, man. He's like, this is what I'm doing, and I'm committing to it, and I don't care if people don't like it, and I'm gonna do it well. And if you don't like it, so what?
Well, I'm not gonna sum it up better than that. I think that's perfect.
That's exactly and it comes across exactly like that.
Yeah.
If you don't like that, then you're not gonna like it.
It is a little passive aggressive.
Very, very much, right? It's like he only made it because to be passive aggressive.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. I feel like
I also heard he got $20 million to do this.
Yeah,
for
might be a bit of that as well.
Yeah, I think Phoenix got 20, Phillips got 20, and Gaga got 12. So that's a big part of the budget right there.
Yeah.
I don't know why she got. I guess like she wasn't from the first movie, so maybe I could see it. But she's
a draw.
She's a bigger draw than Phoenix is.
I mean, I guess maybe not because he's the main character, maybe, and from the first one.
Well, like only because he played Joker in the first one, right?
But you're talking like worldwide. You're talking about worldwide audience, then yeah, I think she's going to be.
Oh, so when I went to go see House of Gucci, there were a bunch of people there to see Lady Gaga.
Oh yeah, I believe it.
And
I believe it.
I feel like she's one of the last
little monsters. Are they called? Is that what her fans are called?
No, I don't really know much about her music career.
Neither do I. I think I just
Little Monsters.
Yeah,
that's adorable.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
I mean, I might be totally wrong. Like I say, I don't know nothing about popular culture when it comes to music, but that's what I heard.
Right.
Kind of like it.
Kind of like Little Monsters in the movie.
The Little Monsters.
Okay.
Both.
Okay. This is first look, final word. We kind of like it.
Yeah, kind of like that.
I think it's worth seeing. We're seeing. There's a lot to talk about, certainly.
Yeah. I wasn't expecting to like it as much as I did, but I also didn't love it.
Yeah.
How's that?
Absolutely. All right. Well, we're winding down here. Love to know what you guys think. Let us know how you like Joker Folie Deux. You can email us at firstlookfinalwordpod@gmail.com. Also, let us know if we missed any sequel titles.
Yes. Do please let us know. I feel like there's probably a couple that we missed out there. But yeah.
All right, Beetlejuice. We
that's what we talked about as soon as we stopped recording and walked in. We're like, we should have talked about Beetlejuice.
Great title.
That's a great sequel title.
All right, anything else to add, Pete?
No, I think that's good. I think, like we say, go see it. Give it a go. Why not? Let them get their money back at least.
I'm not too worried about it.
They'll be all right. I think they'll survive. Oh, you know what? I know we're all wrapping up, but I wanted to ask you, what was your opinion on the opening cartoon sequence?
I liked it.
I thought it was a bit odd. Odd choice.
Certainly odd. Well, it was trying to go into the theme of, he has a split personality, which the movie doesn't bear fruit to that. So it is kind of odd in retrospect that the movie didn't end up agreeing with the opening part of it.
Like when it happened, I was like, oh, that's a bold choice. Like this is going to be like a pretty wacky movie, but then it never really didn't do anything with it. It was just kind of like it was tacked on, I thought.
Oh yeah, well, and it was very Looney Tunes, which like it's a WB movie, so it makes sense. And I think he does like a reference to Looney Tunes later in the movie too.
Yeah, he says that's all, folks.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And and there's a couple of scenes where they're watching like Pepe Le Pew and stuff on the TV.
Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah. So
there's lots of maybe there's just like a deeper meaning to the Looney Tunes connection that I'm not seeing. But yeah, I think it purposely was just like, this is not what you were expecting, guys.
I guess in his fantasy he has the big mallet too, which is very Looney Tunes.
Yeah. But
he was really bashing the judges.
I know, it was very like visceral violence there out of nowhere. But whatever, there was in the first one too.
Yeah,
you gotta give them what they want. All right, okay. I was sorry to derail the ending there, but no, I'd forgotten all about it because it's just so like it's so inconsequential to the rest of the movie. It was just an interesting choice to do that.
Yeah. Oh, give the people what they want. That's a line from the movie.
What they want.
There's hidden scenes in there of violence, right? So maybe that's why they did it.
There you go. Nicely, you figured it out, Trevor.
Okay. All right, sorry. Wrap up, Pete. We gotta stop.
Sorry, it's late now. We'll go to bed. But like I say, reach out to us. Let us know what you think. And until we see you again, that's the final word.